The laughter echoed through the glass-walled boardroom. Executives in expensive suits turned toward the old janitor, standing nervously beside the door, his faded uniform covered in dust from cleaning the lobby after a burst pipe. His gray hair peeked out beneath a worn cap, and his tired hands gripped a rusty bucket. The billionaire CEO smirked. Next time, he said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Try not to smell like an old basement." While important people are having a meeting, the room exploded with laughter. The old man lowered his eyes. He quietly apologized, picked up his bucket, and turned to leave. Then something slipped from his pocket. Clink! A small bronze military medal hit the marble floor and spun in circles before stopping near the CEO's polished shoes. The CEO casually bent down to pick it up. He expected to see an ordinary medal. Instead, his smile disappeared. His hands began to tremble. Engraved on the back were 4 words that froze the blood in his veins. Captain Daniel Carter, the same name his dying father had whispered with tears in his eyes, only days before he passed away. Suddenly, the laughter in the room stopped. The CEO stared at the old janitor as though he had just seen a ghost. Dash, dash, dash. The old man quietly reached for the medal. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "It's the only thing I have left." But the CEO didn't hand it back. His voice cracked. Where did you get this medal?" The old janitor looked surprised. "I earned it silence." One executive rolled his eyes. Another whispered, "He's making it up." The CEO ignored everyone. His heart pounded harder with every second. "My father," he said softly, "served in the same unit during Desert Storm." The janitor's face changed. What was his name, Michael Anderson? For a moment, the old man's tired eyes filled with emotion. "I knew him." The CEO felt his knees weaken. "You knew my father," the janitor nodded slowly. "I carried him out of a burning vehicle after an ambush." The boardroom became completely silent. No one laughed anymore. Dash, dash, dash. The CEO rushed to his office and opened a small wooden box that had belonged to his late father. Inside was an old photograph. Several young soldiers stood together, smiling despite the dirt covering their uniforms. One man had his arm wrapped around Michael Anderson. The CEO's hands shook. It was the janitor younger, stronger, wearing the same medal. On the back of the photo, his father had written, "The man who gave me a second chance at life. I owe him everything." The CEO felt a wave of guilt crash over him. Minutes earlier, he had humiliated the very man his father had called a hero. Dash, dash, dash. He hurried back downstairs. The janitor was quietly mopping the hallway. "As though nothing had happened, sir." The old man looked up. The CEO lowered his head. "I'm sorry." Employees walking past stopped in disbelief. No one had ever seen their powerful CEO apologize to anyone. "I judged you without knowing your story." The janitor smiled gently. "That happens more often than you think." Dash, dash, dash. Later that afternoon, the CEO invited the janitor to lunch. For the first time in years, someone asked about his life. Instead of ignoring him, the old veteran explained that after returning home, he struggled with injuries and nightmares. His wife became ill, medical bills consumed their savings. After she passed away, he lost the house. Eventually, the only job he could find was cleaning office buildings at night. "I never wanted pity," he said. "I only wanted honest work." The CEO could barely hold back his tears. Dash, dash, dash. The next Monday, every employee received an email announcing a mandatory company meeting. More than 600 workers gathered in the main auditorium. People whispered, wondering what was happening. The CEO stepped onto the stage. Beside him stood the janitor, looking uncomfortable under the bright lights. The CEO faced the crowd a week ago. He began, "I made the biggest mistake of my career." The room became silent. "I mocked a man because of his uniform." He paused, but I failed to see the hero wearing it. The giant screen behind them displayed the old military photograph. Gasps spread across the audience. The CEO told everyone how Captain Daniel Carter had saved his father's life. Without that act of courage, his father would never have returned home. Without his father, there would have been no family. No business, no company. No CEO, everything he had built existed. Because one brave soldier had risked his own life. Decades earlier, dash. Dash, dash. The CEO turned toward the old veteran. "Today, I want to repay a debt that can never truly be repaid." The audience watched in silence. He handed Captain Carter a folder. Inside was the deed to a fully paid house, lifetime medical coverage, and a new position as the company's honor and community relations director, where he would mentor young employees and lead the company's veteran support programs. The old man's eyes filled with tears. "I only came here to clean floors," he whispered. The CEO smiled. "You cleaned something much more important. You reminded us that every person deserves respect." The entire auditorium rose to its feet for nearly 2 minutes. The applause never stopped. Some employees wiped away tears. Others looked down, ashamed of the times they had ignored people whose uniforms looked less impressive than their own. From that day forward, the CEO made one rule that every new employee learned on their first day. Never judge a person by the job they do. You never know the battle they've already won. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support helps us reach our first 1,000 subscribers and continue sharing meaningful stories of kindness that inspire the world.